I'm gonna show you how to play this 1950s rock and roll groove. And we're gonna start by looking at the chords, then I'll show you the left hand, the right hand, the way the hands line up. But I also gonna show you how to actually play it with both hands. Because it's a bit tricky, your brain tries to execute different set of movements simultaneously, and it can be really frustrating. But there are some techniques, some tricks that you can use to make it work, and we're gonna talk about them. So with all that being said, let's get into it. And we're gonna start with the chords. We have 1-4-5 chord progression, very popular blues, boogie-woogie, rock and roll chord progression. And we are in the key of C major, so we're gonna have C major, F major, and a G major. Now the way we're gonna play these chords is, in the left hand, we're gonna have this pattern. Okay, so what am I doing here? We are on a low C, here is the middle C, you go 2 octaves below the middle C, and you play C 2 times, then E flat, the minor third, E, the major third, G, the fifth, back to C, then A, the sixth, and back to G. So you play now the fingering is pinky on C, middle finger on E flat and E, index finger on G, pinky on C again, thumb on A, and index on G. And that is the basic pattern. And you use the same exact pattern for 2 other chords. So on F you play F 2 times, A flat, A, C, back down to F, up to D, and back to C. And on G, G 2 times, B flat, B, up to D, back to G, up to E, and back to D. Now, I want you to spend some time and practice this pattern. And when you do this, try not just to play the notes, but groove on them. Of course, you can go slower than that, but the main goal is to play in the tempo. So pick up the comfortable tempo and stick with it. Practice for a while, and then once you feel confident playing in that tempo, speed it up a little bit. Now, also keep in mind that we are not swinging the notes. We are not playing boogie-woogie, well, at least not today. So instead of playing swing 8 notes rhythm, we play stride 8 notes rhythm. So everything is even. Now another thing I want to mention is these accents. We need to accent so-called backbeats. And what does it mean? Let's look at the 8 notes rhythm. So we have this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 end, where these ends are off beats and 1, 2, 3, 4 are beats. And beat 2 and 4 specifically are the backbeats, and we need to accent them. Be careful, because it's a common mistake to accent beat 1. But we need to accent beat 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you see? Accent, accent, slower, accent, accent. So you accent the minor third and then the sixth. Okay, so we know the chords, we know how to play them in the left hand, but what is the order of those chords? I mean, like, we start from the C chord, but what's next? And how long should we stay on each of those chords? And this is where the 12-bar blues form comes into play. And if you are not familiar with the 12-bar blues form, It's a very simple concept. So we have 12 bars, also known as measures, and each of those bars is 4 beats long. Okay? Beat is a steady pulse, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I just play one bar, one measure. And so we're gonna have 12 such bars. And we start from the C chord, and we're gonna play it for 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we move to the F chord for 2 bars. Back to C for 2 bars. G for 1. F for 1 bar. C for 1 bar. And G for 1 bar. Now on the last bar, on G, we are not playing this pattern. We are playing octaves instead. And we skip the first beat and we start playing from the first off beat. Okay, in the context, I'll start from 11 measures, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So practice playing it through this form, make sure you play everything in the tempo, and be careful when you switch between chords. Like when you jump from C to F, back to C, up to G. So make sure everything is even. You don't want to slow down when you jump to the next chord. Like, I don't know, something like this. So better slow down the whole thing and make it smooth and even. So again, start slowly, then speed it up a little bit. Okay, so let's look at the right hand. And we're gonna start with this lick. Classic. So we start from a C major chord, C, E, and G. And to create this lick, we're gonna add one more chord, and it's gonna be F major, second inversion, C, F, and A. And then you just alternate between the two. Back and forth. Now we're not gonna play the whole chord like this. We're gonna break it up and play top 2 notes of the chord and then the bottom note. And for F major, top 2 notes, bottom note. Top, bottom, top, bottom. You see? Now, when we move to F major, we play F major, F, A, and C. And we're gonna add one more chord, and it's gonna be B flat major, second inversion, F, B flat, and D. And we alternate between those two shapes. And again, we take those chords and we play top 2 notes, bottom note, and B flat, top 2 notes, bottom note. And you move back and forth. Now, before we look at how we play this lick, let's look at the fingering quickly. I want to show you a few options. So we have thumb on the bottom note, and then index finger and ring finger for the first chord, and then you move to the next chord, middle finger and pinky. And same for F major, index and ring, middle and pinky. Now you can also use index finger and ring finger all the time for all chords. Same for F major. But I really encourage you to try this fingering, middle finger and pinky. It's very helpful to develop those fingers and movements. But if you like to use index finger and ring finger all the time, go ahead. There is nothing wrong with that. Now here's how you play this lick. This lick is 2 bars long. So you play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and this is one measure, and then you go 1 and 2 and 3 and you finish the lick. Now, since we play C major for 4 bars, we can play this lick 2 times, right? Then we move to F major chord for 2 bars, and so we play this lick 1 time. Then we move back to C major for 2 bars, right? And we play the lick 1 more time, okay? So here's how it sounds, measure 1 to measure 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 more time. 3 and 4. And we move to F major. Back to C major. Now let's embellish it a little bit, because it sounds boring. So let's add slides. So instead of playing E and G, you play E flat and G, and then you slide from E flat to E. And you do this slow the first time, and 1 and 2, and then you play fast slides. So the first slide starts on offbeat, ends on beat. And 1 and 2, and you go fast slides. Now on the F major, you play A flat and C, and you go and 1 and 2 and fast slide. Alright, let's put it all together. I'm gonna play from measure 1 to measure 8. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Alright, we're gonna add one more embellishment to this lick a little bit later in this tutorial, after we learn how to put hands together, because it's gonna be easier that way. So let's move on. We are on the last 4 bars, and we're gonna change the pattern slightly, because it's kind of boring to play the same pattern over and over and over again. After a while, you want to change something. So on G, we're gonna play, I'll actually gonna play the whole thing first, and then I'll break it down. Okay, so measure 9 to measure 12. Okay, let's focus on the G part first. So we have this big G major chord. G, B, D, and G. Basically, it's a simple G major chord, we just double in the root. So we play it 2 times, and we slide from B flat to B. So 1, 2, and then you go G minor, first inversion, B flat, D, and G. You hit it 1 time, then you slide from B flat to B, and you land on G. So we have, and the rhythm is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, if it's hard for you to play this big G major chord, just drop this top note, top G, okay? And you play. It's still gonna sound great. Now, let's move to the F chord. We have this big F major chord, F, A, C, and we put the F on top, and we slide from A flat to A, okay? Rather 1 time. And then we play F7, first inversion, like this, A, C, E flat, and F. You hit it once, and then you go to 11 measure. Okay, so 1 more time. Now, the rhythm is, whoop, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and measure 11, we play this lick, and measure 12, we play octaves. And again, we skip the first beat and then we play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I'm gonna play the whole thing, 12 bars, just the right hand, so you can see how it all connects together. Alright, so how do we play it with both hands? And if you try to put hands together at this point, you're probably gonna fail. For the reason I've mentioned at the beginning of this video. Because your brain is overwhelmed, let's say. So instead of putting hands together right away, we're gonna make the left hand independent first, before we even add the right hand. In other words, we make it the part of the subconscious process, so that we don't think about it at all. It becomes a second nature. And then we can take whatever we want in the right hand and effortlessly put hands together, because we don't think about the left hand anymore. Now the question is, how do we do that? Well, there are several ways, and we're gonna walk through them. So the first and probably the simplest one is to simply talk and play at the same time. So play the left hand and talk. And if you have no one to talk to at that moment, just talk to yourself. I know it's weird, but it's very effective. Okay, so play and talk. Now the next thing you can do is to read and play at the same time. So take your favorite book, play the left hand and read. As simple as that. Now, pretty quickly you'll notice it's not that simple. But just try to make it work, okay? Now you can also write something down. So take a piece of paper, play and write. You got the point. Of course, make sure it's comfortable. Don't write on the piano. Okay, next you can draw and play at the same time. It doesn't have to be something beautiful, it's not the point. Just draw anything. Draw some shapes. Draw something from your imagination. Oh, it's tricky. The point is to make these all kind of movements. All right. Oh, it's so uncomfortable. It's very unstable. So of course don't draw on the keyboard. I'm just forced to draw on the keyboard because I can capture with my camera both keyboard and the table. So make sure it's comfortable. And finally, you can color something. So take a marker, pencil, whatever, and color something. Now the goal is to make different kind of movements. Like this, like this. Phew. So practice these exercises. You don't have to do them all. Just pick up your favorites and practice. And then try to put hands together. You shouldn't have any issues at that point. But if it's not the case, then probably you think about your left hand and it's not independent yet. So you need to practice a little bit more. Now there is one more thing you can do. Let me get this. And it's to put hands together partially. So take a small part and try to put hands together. Then do the same, but this time keep playing the left hand. And then play the whole thing. Maybe practice the second part. And then put hands together. The point is to put hands together beat by beat. But if you practice those exercises enough, you're not gonna need that. Alright, next I wanna show you how the hands line up, just in case. And then, after that, we'll embellish the right hand lick a little bit more. That's by itself. And then together. Left hand by itself, together. Left hand by itself, these together. Again by itself, these together. You see how it works? Moving to 11 measure. Skip the beat and octaves together. Okay, finally, we're gonna embellish the lick and we're gonna add the walk down. Okay, let's break it down. So we have G and C, and we slide from G flat to G. Then you play F, D, and C. Yeah, with one finger, with the thumb. Usually you want to avoid playing two notes in a row with one finger, but in rock and roll, we pretty often do some weird things. No, seriously, it's pretty comfortable. We are on a measure 5, 6, and we move to the 7 measure. Measure 7, 8. So here we have D and G, and we slide from E flat, then C, A, and G. Okay? Alright, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you in this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.